Hey guys, my name is Connie Joy and welcome to my channel. If you're new here, welcome, and if you're not new here, welcome back. In today's video, I'm going to tell you guys how I got off welfare. Welfare refers to a range of government programs that provide financial or other aid to individuals or groups who cannot support themselves. Welfare programs are typically funded by taxpayers and allow people to cope with financial stresses during rough periods of our lives. Examples of welfare can be a form of grants, food stamps, vouchers, Medicaid, healthcare, and housing assistance. Yes, once upon a time, I was on government assistance. This video is not to shade anybody who receives government assistance. I completely understand. Everybody falls on hard times. It happens to the best of us. Without further ado, let's get into this video. I got on welfare in 2008 when I got pregnant with my first son, Jaden. Prior to getting pregnant, I knew nothing about welfare. It wasn't something that I ever learned about. It wasn't like they taught you in school anything about welfare. And I grew up in a household that wasn't on welfare, so I didn't know anything about it. But I think that there were a lot of people that may have been on it when I was growing up, but I think they were very discreet. They weren't bragging about it. It wasn't popular to brag about like it is now. When I found out that I was pregnant with my son, Jaden, I was working full-time for Penske Logistics. I was working a clerical job in dispatch, and I was just about to pass my 90-day probation, and I was going to become full-time, and it was already extended to me a position full-time, and I was going to have a raise. I was working through a temp agency, and I finally worked my butt off and was about to be permanent, and I found out I'm pregnant. I told my job because I was having terrible morning sickness. They laid me off. And I know that legally they were not allowed to terminate me or lay me off because I was pregnant, but I was in the state of Pennsylvania, which is a fire at will state. For those of you who don't know what a fire at will state is and what it means, an at will employment means that an employer can fire an employee for any reason or no reason with no warning, and without having to establish just cause. About 74% of the U.S. workers are considered at-will employees. The benefits that I received while I was on welfare were Medicaid, which covered my health insurance for myself and my son. I got food stamps. I received $364 in food stamps a month. I received a monthly bus voucher to get to school. I received childcare, which covered pretty much all of my daycare tuition except for a small copay of $5 a week, which is not much, but when you're getting $322 a month in cash assistance to survive and cover all of your out-of-pocket costs that food stamps don't cover, $20 to $25 a month can really put you in a financial bind, but it's better than having absolutely nothing. For housing, I got the TRA. TRA, which is Temporary Rentals Assistance, is a separate payment given to an applicant or recipient landlord in order to prevent homelessness when the recipient is facing eviction and needs help to stay in his or her current residence. The Temporary Rentals Assistance Program will pay your security deposit to get to your apartment and will pay your rent every single month, provided that you are in school full-time. And they contact your school to get your attendance every single week to make sure that you go to school. If you don't finish school, you quit, you stop going for whatever reason, you're homeless. It was plain and simple. It was a really big motivator for me, knowing that I would be homeless if I didn't stay in school and pass. The temporary rentals assistance program only covers your rent for 6 months, but they made an exception, and I'm sure they make exceptions all the time because there are people that are probably still currently having their rent paid as we speak, and they have definitely exceeded their 6-month grace period. I remember when I went to apply for the TRA, it was in the basement of the welfare office in Camden, New Jersey, and I could overhear so many conversations as usual. You know, people have no shame. When they're in the welfare office, they have no shame. I overheard these girls talking about their living arrangements. In the meantime, if they cannot get you an apartment, they will get you a motel or a hotel. And I heard these 2 girls that looked to be around the same age as me talking, and they were bragging about how they were self-sabotaging their hotels and motels with fake domestic violence in order to get apartments. And I was just like, I can't believe people are proud of this. I mean, for anybody out there who's like super skeptical about government assistance and welfare, and you might have like, you know, biased opinions about people who receive it, not everybody getting government assistance is taking advantage of the system. Not everybody has that mentality. So I actually ended up failing maternity and peds in my 3rd semester. My maternity and peds teacher gave me a 74.7 and would not round my grade up to give me a 75. In nursing school, a 74 is an F. 75 is a C. From what I recall, nobody passed maternity and peds with anything higher than a C. And it wasn't just because the class was difficult and challenging, it was because we had an instructor on a power trip who never got over the fact that she was never popular in high school, and she just took it out on her students at her job. But that's a story for a whole nother time. Needless to say, I repeated the class and I passed the 2nd time. Nursing school was challenging, not just academically. It seemed that when I got in nursing school, everything started to fall apart. But I managed to get through it and I finished. The nursing school program that I attended was an accelerated program lasting 12 months. Since I had to take a class again, I had to stay an additional 6 months because I missed the class that was starting immediately the next following week after I had failed. There was a class beginning the next following week, but I couldn't take it because I didn't have the money to pay for the class yet. There were a few reasons why I wasn't able to work while I was going to school. One, it was pointless because the amount of money that you were allowed to make was so measly. In New Jersey, the bus stops are far from where you have to go. Your bus stop might be a couple of blocks from where you actually need to be at. So I didn't have a car, I didn't even have a driver's license when I first came to New Jersey. Working a job, there was just no point in it because I wasn't allowed to exceed a certain amount of money each month. When you do the math, it would cost me more money to get a taxi from the bus stop to get to this job and pay a babysitter. And then this is time that I needed to be studying for in school. It didn't make any sense for me to work basically to make little to no money, to not make a huge impact on my financial situation. It made no sense. I commend anybody who was able to work full-time or part-time and be a nursing student full-time, because it wasn't in the cards for us, so I couldn't do it. For sacrificing my ability to work, I was able to focus better on school. We went without a lot of stuff, but I had to do it, and it was worth it. It was hard at the time though. I remember that I would do my laundry at my apartment. They had a laundry room, and I would literally not have enough money to even do my laundry, so I would like overstuff washers and dryers, and the money that I would actually even get to do my laundry, I would take my EBT card and I would go buy like a pack of gum for like 30-40 cents, and then I would get like $3 cash back, because when you hit cash back and it gives you the options, you hit other, and then you can actually put in individual dollar amounts to get cash back. And then I would use those dollars to go get quarters to do my laundry.
I was so poor. There were months that I had to make a decision whether to buy diapers or to buy pads and tampons. That's how broke I was. I had to pass, and I had to pass my NCLEX. So when it came time for me to graduate, I didn't even have money to purchase my nurse's gown and my cap. The graduation outfits were caps and the nurse's dresses. And I think it was like $30, $40 to get it for the outfit. And I didn't have that money. And nobody that I asked could give it to me or lend it to me. So I did not go to my graduation, and I worked so hard to finish nursing school, but I didn't go to my graduation because I couldn't. All I wanted was for my son to see me walk across the stage because I felt like I proved myself, and I didn't get that, but I know I proved myself. When I graduated, my school would not send off any of the documents to the Board of Nursing for me to sit for my NCLEX because I had a balance left over. So I had to go on a few dates with a family friend who was old enough to be my father to warm up to him so he could pay for the balance. And I hated every moment of it, but I had to do it because I needed to sit for my NCLEX. I couldn't let this stand in the way. And I was so uncomfortable. I really, really was. But I just kept thinking to myself, look, you have to do this, you have to do this, you have to do this. You didn't come this far to let these papers, these documents stand in your way. I went on a few dates. He gave me the money. Thank God I didn't have to sleep with him or anything like that, or even give him any kisses. Thank God. Thank God. I wasn't in a position to not go sit for my NCLEX at all costs. I was gonna do whatever I had to do to get that money so I could pay the school off, pay off my balance, so I could go sit for my NCLEX. And that sounds so cold, but he was older than my father. He was old enough to be my father. What did you think was going on here? Once my paperwork was submitted to the Board of Nursing and school was over, I had to go to Work First New Jersey's training program. Anybody who has ever gone to any of the Work First New Jersey training programs, you know how much of a nightmare those programs are, especially if you went to school and you're just doing the program while you sit to take, you know, your test to get your license or your certificate or whatever it is. It was annoying. It was humbling, but it was so frustrating and irritating because you have all different kinds of people there. You've got the people who literally go to the program and they're just so content and happy with it. Just so happy and content with life. You've got the ones who are rebellious, who always talk about their life prior to welfare. Those ones are in like massive denial that they're even in the position that they're in and that they have to basically go to the 13th grade every single day to get a check from the government. You've got the ones who actually milk the system, and they're literally trying to milk the system for every penny that is offered to them. Then you've got the ones who are kind of like you, who went to school and, you know, this is just temporary, so you kind of don't want to make friends. You want to keep your eyes down, keep your head low. You just want to mind your business. But at this program, this training program, I ended up meeting one of my best friends, and that was the only good experience that came from that experience. And I would go to that super program a million times over if I could meet my best friend again. A million times over. I admit, when I was going to that Work First New Jersey training programs, I wasn't snooty, but I was just like, make friends for what? I'm not gonna be here long. I wasn't trying to make friends. I wasn't like problematic, but I was just like, I did feel like it was beneath me. I did, and that sounds terrible. But after everything that I went through in nursing school, after all of the stuff that I drilled into my brain, my thinking was above a welfare work, you know, program. I knew how to get a job. I was just waiting to get my license. So anyway, it humbled me. It definitely humbled me. And I still was able to receive my childcare, which I needed, because once I transitioned into the, you know, the workforce, I was going to need childcare. So one of the great benefits was that after finishing school, there was still a period where my income wouldn't count against me, and I was gonna still be able to receive some of my benefits. So while I was waiting to sit for my NCLEX, I still received my cash assistance so long as I attended my training program every single day, Monday through Friday, and did whatever they told me to do. And I received my food stamps so we could still eat. And I still had my housing, I still had my health insurance, and I still had my bus pass. I studied for 5 months straight, drilling myself with hundreds of test questions. I did the CDs, I did the online test, I did the books, I did everything you could think of, I did them all. Until finally I started to see repeat questions. The scenarios were the same. I was terrified. I didn't think I was ready no matter what, but I was just like, okay, well, you studied all these months, you might as well go take it, fail it, so you can see what it's like, and then, you know, try again. I scheduled my NCLEX test, and oh my Lord, I had nightmares. I wasn't sleeping, I wasn't eating. Oh, I was such a nervous wreck. The NCLEX, and for those of you who don't know, I went to get my LPN. I never established what I went to school for. I went to get my LPN. The NCLEX is basically a nightmare. It wasn't even that hard. It was just so terrifying because I knew that it was based on everything that I'd ever learned. And I got a lot of questions about things that I did not know anything about, but I just broke the diagnosis down based on the words. And then I just tried to critically think the hell out of everything. And it took me 2.5 hours to take my test. And my test shut off at 86 questions. I remember after I took my NCLEX, I was holding back so many tears. I was holding back breaking down. And I remember when I got in the elevator to leave, the woman that was inside of like this suite where we tested at, she said to me, she says, "I'm sure you did fine," and she smiled at me. And I was just like, is this that moment where there was this mutual moment of peace where she was sending me a message letting me know that she knows I passed because she literally knows, because like she can see it on her test screen? Or is that me just trying to be optimistic because I think I just really killed everybody on that test? I felt like I killed everybody. When I got into the elevator and the door was closed, I just burst into tears and cried. And I actually had a bottle of vodka in my car because by that point I finally had a car. And it was a piece of crap, it was a piece of complete total trash, it was a lemon. My friends made sure that I had vodka the day that I went to take my NCLEX because they knew that I was going to need a drink after I was done taking that test, and that I wasn't going to be able to wait until I got home to get that drink. And I remember there were 2 test locations that we were offered. I could test in Atlantic City or I could test in Philadelphia, and I opted to test in Philadelphia because I thought to myself, I don't want to drive all the way home from Atlantic City after taking my NCLEX thinking about how I failed. When you take your NCLEX, you don't get your test results for, I think it's 72 hours. I believe it's 72 hours. It's been so long, it's been a while, but I believe it's 72 hours that you don't get your results for. It was stressful, but when I went home, I screamed and cried to the top of my lungs. I said, I know I'm such a failure. Everyone was right about me, and I had no idea whether I passed or not. Anyone who knows anything about the NCLEX, if you've taken it, if you're in school and you've been taught about the NCLEX and you've prepped for it, here's the thing. When you take the NCLEX, every question you get right or wrong dictates your next question. If your test gets easier, it means you're failing. If your test gets harder, it means you're passing. So when you're taking this test, you're not thinking about any of that stuff. You're not thinking about anything that you have been trained to be aware of when it comes to the NCLEX. When you're in that moment, all you're thinking about is how you have killed every patient that you have come in contact with. Every text question that I got, I was like, well, there goes Jennifer, there goes Larry, Bob's dead too. I was like, these questions are so hard, I've never heard of any of these diagnoses. I got like 3 questions that I knew the answers to for sure. Everybody else was just like, you guys are all surviving on a wing and a prayer. I was stressed. I was stressed, but I got through it. I also could not pay for my NCLEX because I didn't have any money. I was dating a guy who I actually was dating because I wanted to date him, and I told him about my little financial crisis, and he paid for the test, but God, I had to kiss his ass for it. And I'm sure to this day he's probably still thinking about the $200. But for the relationship that I had to deal with for that $200, I think I got cheated. Anyway, took my NCLEX, and I did this re-register trick where you actually call in to schedule your test. And if you appear in their system like you've already taken the test or you're already scheduled for the test, it means you passed. And if they ask for your credit card, debit card information to charge you for the test, it means you failed. Me being my negative Nancy self at the time, when I called to schedule my test, my voice was all cracking on the phone. Oh man, it was a wreck. I was just such a train wreck. I was like, I can't bear to face so when I called to do the re-register trick, after they picked up, I hung up because I was just like, I can't listen to somebody tell me how I failed. So, of course, I called back again. I was like, no, stop being a punk. Call back, get your results. If you failed, you failed. Take it again. Just take it again. So, I got my big girl panties on, and I called them back, gave them my information, and they said, you're already scheduled to take this test. And I was like, what? What did you say? They were like, you're already scheduled to take this test. I can't schedule, you're already scheduled. And I was just like, ah! Oh my God. Like, for some reason, telling you guys right now, I'm reliving the moment when I found this out, and I can literally almost hear this guy's voice in my ear. It seems so damn real right now. And I remember he had this Indian accent, and his name was Daniel. And wow, it's all coming back to me. Telling you guys about this, I'm reliving that moment. It was the best moment. It was so exciting. It was just like, it was literally like hitting the lottery after losing everything that you've ever had. Yo, I was just like, yo. And they thought I was dumb. And they said I was stupid. They said I was bubble-headed and bobble-headed. What? They still say that. But I guess I'm a bobble-headed dumb nurse. Oh wow. Anyway, after that moment, I was so, oh my God, I was so ecstatic. I was telling everybody. But then I got to thinking, what if the register trick doesn't work anymore? And what if I didn't really pass? So then I went through a second wave of depression and anxiety and crying spells. And then finally, within 72 hours, I was able to pay for my results and found out that I was a licensed practical nurse, LPN, that I got my little piece of paper that I worked my little fanny off for, my little fanny. I worked my butt off for that. And that was the hardest I ever worked in my life. And it was worth it. Once I passed my NCLEX, I started looking for work, and in 3 weeks time I was able to find my first nursing job at Care One in Evesham in Marlton, New Jersey. Got a day shift job full-time, and the pay was really bad, but it was my first nursing job, so it was what it was, and I needed to get my feet wet. I needed that experience, and it was rehab work. I started off at $21.50 an hour. I live in New Jersey, and I'm a single parent. All I'm saying is, the cost of living, you still struggle on $21.50. And that's provided that they let you have overtime. But that was just the beginning. When I got my first nursing job, I had to learn a lot of responsibility because once my rent stopped being covered by the temporary rentals assistance program, I had to pay my own rent, which was $875 a month. And that was a lot of money that I wasn't used to spending. So I had to learn how to manage my money. I was able to finally get a better car. And then after that car, I was able to buy a new car, brand new car. And I went from renting an apartment to renting a house. And now I'm in the process of renting to owning my own home, my very first home. Going to nursing school was the best thing that I ever did for myself. And it really helped me put being an adult into perspective. Because of welfare, I was able to get so much assistance to get so many things that I needed. Although welfare is not sustainable, it helped me get where I needed to get in life. this sounds insane, but welfare was there when there was nobody there. That sounds crazy to say, but it's true. Welfare was there when nobody was there. Welfare was available when I didn't have anything. But I know that I deserved the assistance of welfare because I've paid into it, and I've paid into it a couple times over since becoming a nurse. If it wasn't for welfare, I wouldn't have had the opportunities that I got. I remember when I actually went to terminate my case, I called welfare and let my case manager know that I was terminating my case, and she said to me, she was like, "What?" I said, "I'm terminating my case. I don't need you guys anymore." And she was like, "You want to cut off your welfare? You want to terminate your case?" I said, "Yes, I want to terminate my case. I want to get off of welfare." And she was like, "Well, you have to come down with a written document. You need to get that notarized." And I was like, all this to get off welfare? Seriously? But if I keep welfare and I sneak and steal food stamps and cash assistance, you guys will take me to court, or you'll take my taxes because you want your money back. So I got my little letter written up and got it notarized, and I went in there and I handed it, and I was so proud. I was so proud. I felt so oh man, I was hyped. There was just no feeling. There's no feeling that matches the feeling when you walk into the welfare office and you let them know, "Here's my letter. I'm here to terminate my case. I don't need you guys anymore. Bye." I recall doing my makeup and my hair that day, and I even wore heels so they could hear me clicking and clacking as I walked down the hall when I went to go terminate my EBT. I was so proud. I was so proud of myself. I got on welfare with a purpose, and that's why it was so easy to get off welfare. We have all seen the occasional single mom that's in welfare screaming bloody murder, threatening the case manager's life because her food stamps aren't on her EBT card. It was situations like that that made me always remember that welfare was not sustainable, and I never got comfortable on it. There's nothing about welfare that makes you comfortable. There's nothing about welfare that says this is reliable, it's gonna be here all the time. Luckily it never happened to me, but I watched my own sisters go through the drama and the madness of their case managers losing the birth certificates, losing the copies of the socials. It was always something, so people would always have to go to welfare and spend time trying to stay on welfare or get their cases reopened to welfare, because it was always something. When welfare would send you these redetermination letters, they would send you these letters like a day before the meeting, and they expect you to be there for that meeting. I can't be stressing every first, second, third, fourth, fifth of the month because my food stamps and my cash assistance aren't on my card. I can't be paranoid and stressed out because I need to go to the doctors, but they won't see me because my insurance got cut off. I just couldn't live that lifestyle. It wasn't for me. I needed to be able to have, more control over my life. And that's the reason why I made the concrete decision to get off welfare. And I only got on welfare because I was at a very, very, very vulnerable place when I got pregnant with my first son. But I learned, I really do appreciate all those programs that helped me get where I got. I truly feel like welfare gave me all of the things that I would have had if I was birthed into a functional family. Some people, they don't have to work, they just go to school, they have meals prepared for them when they come home from class, they don't have to pay rent, they don't have to worry about anything but just their education. Their housing is taken care of, their food's taken care of, their expenses are taken care of. They may not have much, but their family is supporting them. That's the way that I felt with the government supporting me when I was in nursing school. It provided everything that I needed for me and my son. That's an opportunity that I hope and wish for everyone to have. These opportunities are available. You just have to do the research, but they're available. If you want to better your life, if you want something better, these opportunities are there. And I definitely hope that I'm inspiring somebody to take advantage of them. That is pretty much it. That's how I got off welfare. I relocated to New Jersey, went to nursing school, had welfare to assist me the way. Welfare paid for my housing. Welfare fed me. Welfare gave me funds to clothe me. And I had to put my son's father on child support in order to get the cash assistance, but he had already left me any dang way, and I already knew he was the scapegoat. That was always part of his plan. He was never sticking around anyway, so I wasn't pressed about, oh no, I don't know where he's at, I'm not gonna get on. No. What do you need? His social? You need some blood? You need some hair? I got whatever you need. I need to survive, and my son needs to survive, and his father done ran off, and he's not pressed about how we're gonna survive, so why would I protect you? 22221. Write down his birthday too. I wasn't worried. I wasn't worried about that. And I'm sure if he's watching this video, he's always gonna be like, oh my god, see, she's unloyal. Sir, you left me, you left your son, we had to survive, and I did a damn good job doing it. And I do it again too. I did what I had to do to survive. And the rest is history. I hope this video inspires someone somewhere to take the initiative to take the beginning steps to getting off of government assistance. It's not sustainable, and you can do much better. Trust me, you really can. Thank you guys so much for taking the time to watch this video. I appreciate it so much, and I hope to see you guys all back in the next video. Mwah.